Jordan.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. Episode 150. And because it's the 150th episode, I have a host of great friends. The 5 esteemed Black journalists have come to join me on today's show. I'm happy to bring them on as we're going to talk some Black wrestling. You know, it is the week of the National Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Hispanic Journalists convention. And unfortunately, we're not all together. But one thing that we all like is wrestling. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start off introducing my guests. I'm first going to start off with somebody who I've interviewed before. That is the one and only Miss Candace Cordelia. Candace, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How's everything?
You know, we're still in quarantine, but we're keeping busy, watching wrestling, just, doing what we have to do. But everything is great.
All right. So then next, I'm going to bring on a new friend I've found in these social media streets, and that is the one and only Santana, the journalist. Santana, how you doing?
I'm good in yourself. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Happy you was able to come on. I know you're a fan. I'm a fan. So, I'm excited for tonight's show.
Definitely.
And then I'm bringing on Miss Briana as she comes on. Briana, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me and, collabing with other journalists that like wrestling.
Definitely. I can't wait to get in this conversation. And I'm going to go on to New Orleans and Louisiana, and bring on my guy, Lamar. Lamar, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for having me on this panel right here.
All right. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, if you caught me on Instagram TV, you may have caught me, the one and only. He has a championship belt, folks, because he is an award-winning journalist. And what do? We like our belts, and that is the one and only, the Deacon, David Schiele. David, what's up, bro?
Man, what's going on, man? I wish I could bring my belt out, but it's hanging up in the room right now.
All right. So let's get this situated. Let's start talking AEW. Brandi Rhodes. She has, and I can't wait to hear what the ladies have to say about this. She has a new initiative to bring on more women's wrestling fans. How do y'all feel about that? We'll start with the ladies and then we'll move to the gentlemen.
Who's going to go first?
Oh, that's what I was waiting. I was like,
Candace,
now this is necessary, I think. It's necessary to bring attention to the fact that women aren't appreciated as much as we would like in the wrestling world. So I appreciate what she's doing. But I would like to see, how is she not only just going to bring them on, but how are you going to bring more attention to that division? Because it's one thing to put them on, but it's another thing to actually, highlight them on AEW.
Another thing to highlight, Candace, Santana, y'all said y'all had a lot to say about this. I'm waiting.
I didn't know who wanted to go first, so.
You want to go first, Santana?
You can go ahead, Candace. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I definitely have a lot of thoughts. The first thought that I have is I'm also excited for this. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. And I mean, the concept of AEW Healed, fans learned about it earlier this year, and Brandi, she was leading up to this moment. And it was really interesting to see the commentary on social media about this, for me at least, because there was so much excitement from people leading up to this. But I think what really caught folks off guard was the fact that there's this subscription plan. And my personal opinion about the subscription plan is I don't necessarily see a problem with it. I understand that people are wary because we're in a pandemic. People are hurting for money. A lot of people have been furloughed. A lot of people, they're trying to keep whatever finances they have together. And as far as wrestling goes, and this was something that had been brought up even at the start of the pandemic in terms of merch, in terms of paying for things with wrestling in and of itself, it's kind of hard for people to find a reasoning to pay for things such as this. I think that if you have the money to pay for this and if you're excited, give it a go. I don't think that it will hurt to pay for this subscription plan. If you don't have the money for it, then don't pay for it and just wait to see what will come of it. It looks like there's a lot to look forward to with the subscription plan for what they're offering for $50 a year. I think they're offering a lot, but I understand people's, trepidation in terms of what they can actually expect from it, because we don't know. We don't know what's going to come of the subscription plan until we actually pay for it, if we have the means to see what will come of it. But I personally don't have a problem with the $50 a year, and I know a lot of people do. So I'm just going to cap it off right there for now, because I still have a lot of thoughts, but I would love, to hear what Santana has to say. So.
Santana?
Me personally, I think it's a great idea to put this together for women. A lot of women over the years don't get the recognition that they needed, like Briana said. And I think given this opportunity and platform to know that we do have women who love wrestling, and we want to see women wrestle as well. Back in the day, women used to be like nothing but sex symbols and like valets or whatever. And to see them in the ring doing a damn good job, better than the men can, putting on a show, I think it's an amazing opportunity for them and for us to be a part of it as well and express our feelings and how we feel about it. And I just want to know the different plans she has going on for this. I know people say they're going to do things for the women in wrestling, but I need that action to take in place. Like, I don't need you to tell me what you're going to do. I need to see what you're going to do.
David, you got the AEW shirt on. How you feel?
Yeah, I think this is something that's positive, at least in the beginning stages of it. We haven't really seen it develop and know exactly the ins and outs of everything yet. But, from what I'm reading, I think it can be something that's really good. I've always been a believer in creating spaces for the people that feel underrepresented, which in professional wrestling, it's very male dominated. And, we just heard the point about women in wrestling being used as valets or managers or just sex symbols. The days of LeBron panties matches are gone, and that's been a very good thing. I think the door has definitely been opened to see some new things in professional wrestling involving women. We had the first ever women's Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell. We've seen steel cage matches, tables matches, and all these different things. But I also would really like to see us, if this thing develops to being a space for the women fans, not just the wrestlers, but the fans, the women fans, just because going to shows, there's nothing but a bunch of guys. Usually it's so many guys in there watching. And I feel like there should definitely be a space or some type of ability or form or whatever the right word is there for women fans to interact with some of these women wrestlers and just kind of talk. That's something that I feel like if it really develops, it should turn into something like that. And even if there's workshops of how to be a chief brand officer like Brandi, because I think AEW was all about being different, listening to the audience. Well, if this is the space, we'll engage with the audience here, engage with your demographic of women that enjoy your product.
Lamar.
I kind of feel like I kind of echo those same sentiments. I feel like it's a good idea. I feel like it's something to a good, at least it's good on paper right now. We'll see how it goes and everything, but it looks like from all the quotes that they have on there and everything that Brandi had said, I mean, I feel like it's something that she's really passionate about, and it's something that she really wants to do. And I feel like it's going to help attract more women to get into wrestling, and it's going to be something for more women fans, and also it's going to help get those women wrestlers out there a little bit more too. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, my thing is, when I look at it, I want to see. I guess when you have this subscription base, you trying to make it exclusive, but I'm a little concerned about, like, why should the ladies have to pay for, pay $50 to get exclusive content? That's where I'm looking at it. But I'm, like was said earlier, see how it is, check it out. But that's the only thing. It's like, well, why should they have to pay if the men don't have to? Are they getting special seminars? Obviously, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so not right now, but will they get exclusive when shows start happening again? Will they get opportunities to like go backstage or exclusive one-on-one chats? What will the benefits be?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So. Well, I just wanted to add to that. When you go on the AEW website under the Heels section and you look for, because I checked it out today, and you look at the subscription, those are things that you will get. Apparently, once you sign up, you'll be able to get like special, they said dance parties, virtual meet and greets. And there seems to be a lot of perks with it that if you weren't a part of the subscription, you probably wouldn't be privy to. So it sounds to me like one of those, because there are a lot of these women-only exclusive clubs that have been around for quite some time. And it sounds like this is the wrestling equivalent of that. And for all of those other clubs, you have to pay to invest in the service itself. So, I mean, it just sounds something to that nature. And I think what threw people off was the whole $50 a year. But also, I noticed a lot of men on Twitter were really not feeling it. And even some were saying, well, why can't I be involved with this? And they just didn't understand the importance of having something just for women, which I thought was really intriguing. So those are just some things that I observed even today, although Brandi had talked about this for months and she said it was coming out, but the subscription plan just threw people for a loop, and that it just turned into this whole big thing. So
yeah, I personally don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think it is cool to involve more women's wrestling fans. I like that idea, and more I think about it, I want to know, what do y'all think? Do y'all think the WWE is swoop in and do something like this for $39.99 a year?
They might. They in competition with them.
I mean, the best you're gonna get, is they might put one of their women's wrestlers in a Cricket Wireless, and you go meet them. That's probably the best. That's the best.
You already get that during WrestleMania weekend, though.
Yeah, but I mean, having the access to WWE sound like comes from meeting them at a Cricket Wireless or WrestleMania access. Other than that, don't forget about it. Unless they're granting a wish, or they're doing Be a Star, but that's usually for children. But for us adult fans, they limit that as much as they can.
Yeah. And speaking of Brandi Rhodes, AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament for the Cup. That was originally, breaking the fourth wall here. That was the original part of, her discussion in this rundown. But might as well talk about it now. I'm not feeling it. I don't like the fact that her and Allie are face but heel but face. Do anybody else feel this way? Do anybody see anything coming out of this? I'll start with
nothing.
You. Huh?
Probably nothing. Honestly.
Yeah, because the way I'm looking at it is, I see her shining, but you had this thing with Nyla Rose, and you had, I'm a huge Ariane fan. I know a lot of people may not be, but you had, we're going to reveal this big reveal. She's going to have a tag partner. Spoiler alert, I was hoping it was Amber Rodriguez. She's a good friend of mine. I know her and Nyla Rose are best friends. I said, hopefully it's her. Well, it wasn't. Then we see Ariane. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, maybe they'll win the tag team tournament. Now they're gonna get back to dominating. That didn't happen. And then they lose in the first round. But we see Brandi and Allie, who they look like they're friends, but then they're not. So that's the thing that's confusing. Briana, what you think?
I didn't understand the storyline. It was confusing as why, I don't know, why are we pushing those two? Because like you said, you know, Ariane is somebody who almost is a vet, basically. Like, you would like to see them excel way more. And I'm just like, you know what? I didn't understand why basically where their angle is. What are they really trying to accomplish with that, you know, with the two of them together?
Yeah. Lamar?
Well, I really didn't get a chance to see it, so just go on.
You ain't missed nothing. Candace?
Oh, me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, I was actually shocked that Nyla and Ariane lost. I wasn't expecting that. I thought that they were actually going to win. So now I'm really intrigued to see where they're going to go with Tay, Conti, and Anna Jay, how that's going to look. Because, you know, there are tons of people saying, well, obviously Brandi's going to win. Brandi and Allie are going to win this whole thing. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, I don't know. They could completely throw a curveball. Like, it's I'm just waiting for the next installment, because now it's like I don't even know what to expect. So, I think this might be a tipping off point for a potential women's tag team division. Like, maybe this is where they're going with all of this. So I'm just kind of observing and waiting as time goes on.
Are they ready for championship belts? Are they ready for AEW women's tag titles? Santana, what you think?
I think they're kind of forcing it a little bit to me. Because, you know, they're kind of in the midst of developing, you know, bringing these women tag teams together and kind of partying them up. Like with the Ariane situation, you know, she's been gone from wrestling for like a while, you know, a long time. And for her to come back and lose, that makes me mad, because it's like, y'all be bringing these people back for these comebacks and you be having them lose.
On her name.
Right. Like, come on now. You can't just be bringing somebody back just to have them lose, and then I'm going to get mad. Like, I'm mad now, because like, you have the utmost, you're like, this girl, she is a vet. Like, she's been doing this thing for years, you know, so although she, you know, had her little issue over there, but to bring her back to have her lose, what was the point? You could just let her stay at home, you know, and let her quarantine instead of bringing her back to lose.
And you know, that's what I
that's
what I was thinking. Like, I know people they said, well, she got a chance to be on TV. That brings more publicity. She get more TV time for her other projects, but still, and it's so funny. Not funny, because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I already said she's like one of my favorites, but it's different hearing Ariane and Vet, because we saw the struggle. We saw her grow in wrestling from Tough Enough to NXT to the main roster, Total Divas, back to NXT. And so, but David, what you think about the women's tag team division on AEW?
I mean, I think it's for the most part really non-existent. That's why this whole thing kind of confuses me, because it just came about on YouTube, and there's the only real feud I'm seeing in terms of the women's division is Big Swole and Britt Baker. That's all I'm seeing on TV. No real teasing to what happened. No real push to replays of what happened in the tournament. You know, no backstage segments or interviews. It's just kind of, if you want to catch it on YouTube, you can. And it's kind of the same thing with AEW Dark. I mean, they had 12 matches on AEW Dark last week, and it's almost like, well, yeah, if you want to see Scorpio Sky wrestle, you got to watch AEW Dark on YouTube. And if you don't, well, you're not going to know what Scorpio Sky's doing, and you're not going to really get a chance to see Sunday Kiss wrestle. You're not going to really get a chance to see Private Party wrestle when they're not on TV. And a lot of those guys, you're just not going to see them. So it makes it seem like it's like some snacky cake thing for the diehard fans, but there's no real payoff for it in terms of the story that leaks into TV. And maybe AEW knows their audience very well, and they know that, hey, we don't have just a majority lukewarm audience that will only watch us on TV because we're only on TV once a week, and to where WWE can say we're on TV 3 times a week, and that if you just watch that alone, that's enough. But I feel as of right now, that whole thing just kind of doesn't really make sense to me. And then with Ariane, she didn't sign with AEW. They brought her back for like a one-time thing. That's at least what she told Naomi her show that came out. So it was kind of like, hey, you want to do this? Okay, sure. And then she pulled up. I think it would have been something had they won, but also it's kind of weird time to even be like, they don't really want to sign people permanently with COVID going on, but why bring them into your AEW bubble anyway?
Well, you just brought up something. You got guys like Scorpio Sky. You got Private Party. Talented wrestlers. I know Private Party. I watched them on the indies. They're on TV. You signed them for a reason. Why aren't you taking this time to develop them instead of then going for this quick fix and bringing on former WWE superstars? Because I thought when AEW came along, they were going to build new stars. And that's what I was excited about, but I'm not really seeing a lot of new stars built. Santana, you shake your head.
I mean,
go.
Well, yeah, just to interject, I mean, I was just having a discussion on what stars they were building, and I think it's a very slow process. I think they're taking kind of old school approach to booking, to where these days it's more of, okay, what's our main event next week? What's our main event in 2 months? To where in old school booking, you should know your main event 18 months in advance. So I feel like there's some slowly but surely building going on. We've seen Orange Cassidy kind of take off, which has been good. That's been like the quickest rise. But Sammy Guevara, MJF, their builds are pretty slow right now. And then Private Party, it looked like they were starting to build them as a team, but then it just kind of tapered off a little bit because they weren't able to capture the titles. But I was just interjecting with that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Anybody else got anything to add on that before we move on?
I just wanted to add, I think it has to be hard because AEW is on only once a week, as was mentioned. Mm-hmm. Now we're coming up against, football season, basketball. There's all these different parameters, and AEW is but a little under a year old still. They need to have time to grow, and I think folks are just so excited to see what they can do that the excitement, it's at a point where people are just like, as soon as they don't see something, you're thinking, well, I thought this was going to happen. I thought that was going to happen. And I think we just it's hard. It's really hard because you want to see so many things go on. Also, the roster is massive, and they're dealing with people that are stuck overseas. Like, there are people overseas that we haven't seen in months because they can't come out and wrestle. So there's so many different things happening, and they're dealing with this pandemic. They're trying to, get viewers. They're trying to get their numbers up. They're on TNT. We have no idea what those higher ups at TNT are asking of them too. So I think there's just so many different things happening at once that, as far as I can see, or my opinion is that we just have to wait. That's literally it. We just have to wait and see what they're going to come up with and what's going to happen with people like Scorpio Sky and Private Party and, this rumored second show that I've been hearing about. They supposedly before the pandemic hit were going to have a second show, whether it was on TNT or TBS or what have you. So there's just all these things happening that it's like, it's just a waiting game, I feel, to see what's next, down the pipe with them. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a waiting game. So it's going to be interesting to see. I was looking forward to seeing what they would do with the second show, but, we shall see. Moving on, we see a lot of legends in WWE comment. You see Booker T, you see Mark Henry. They both have podcasts and radio shows, and they're very vocal. And we recently saw Booker T comment about Naomi, and he essentially told her that after they had, their understanding that she could either listen to the internet or she could listen to him, and he was there to help. Briana, how do you feel about Booker T's comments about Naomi? Should that have been something that should have been kept in-house, or are you okay with him doing it publicly?
So this was one of my favorite things that I think I continually watched, I guess, to make sure I was understanding what he was saying and, not creating my own narrative. However, I do believe that that's something that he could have said to her privately, simply because right now is not the time that they need to see two Black legends basically at it, because people are already creating their own, narratives after his comments and how she responded. Kind of to sum up what I felt like he was saying, in my opinion, Naomi is like one of the most athletic divas there will be, to be honest. She's like, it's like her and Charlotte Flair right up there with me, and then you have, everybody else who came after them. But right, is just athleticism. I always thought they were always in my top two, and then you bring in Becky Lynch and the rest of them. But she is super athletic. So to say that she needs to work harder, I don't think it was targeted at that. But like her overall aura, I want to feel almost like I feel when Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair comes out, intimidation. Some type of like chills in my body when you come out, that you're making me feel some type of way. So it's like, she comes out and she's dancing and you can tell she's really happy. But I think for her character, because people have limited her so much and she gets opportunities, but not the opportunities we would like to see, her winning the Royal Rumble was huge, for her. And she was able to say she was the first person to do it. But she has to capitalize off those moments. So again, I'm going to say, yes, he should have said it probably to her and just say, hey, we need to build you up a better character. Like, let's find you something to do. I know she works with R-Truth a lot, like on her music and everything. But he could have just said, hey, we just need to make you scary to people, versus saying that. And as he should be vocal, it is his podcast, but I'm just like, for her, that's like looking out for your sister. That's not, we don't want to bring attention to what's going on with her. Let's try to put her up so the WWE can see that she has all this potential, that we just need to do a rebuilding on her. But I watched Total Diva so much, and you would see how much struggle she had even to get little things done to her character, even to, when she lit up the belt, it was a problem. So it's like little things for her is big. And I think that, again, Booker T should have just said it properly.
Yeah. Candace, you have interviewed tons of wrestlers. So and then working backstage, having a relationship in a sense like this, a professional relationship with these wrestlers. How did you feel when you heard Booker T's comments?
Oh gosh. I get it. I get why he did it. I mean, when you're doing a podcast, there's going to be some controversy involved. And I feel like it wasn't malicious at all. Like, he wasn't trying to dig on Naomi. Could it have been done behind the scenes? Absolutely. But it happened. He said what he said. And I get what he was saying. I think it was the way that it came across seemed insensitive. But we've all seen Naomi throughout the years try to reincarnate and reinvent herself. And a lot of wrestlers go through this. A lot of wrestlers throughout their career, one of the first things that they have to think about besides the actual sport and craft of wrestling is their gimmick, because that's also what's going to get the wrestler over. And the gimmick is massively important. And if it's just a flop, it's just, your chances of getting over with the crowd is going to be so much harder for you. So in all sense of what Booker T was saying to Naomi, I think he is looking out for her. It came across insensitive to me, but I also get it because he's a legend. He's been through the ringer. He's one of, few people in wrestling that can sit Naomi aside and say, sis, this is something that I'm noticing. I want you to improve yourself. I want you to get better. This is what I want you to do. But to tell a wrestler these things, wrestlers can be sensitive as well. You know, it's the life of a wrestler is hard, and a lot of people, they see it, but they don't really see it. And so for someone like Naomi, who's been in this business for so long, who has a certain pedigree, she's extremely athletic, she's gorgeous, she's done so much in her career. To see her strive, that's all we want for her. And I can understand her feeling some type of way to have Booker T, who's probably like a big brother and uncle, what have you, say these things on a public platform. I'm sure that had to hurt to some extent. But we're at the point now where I think wrestlers are just going to have to understand that they're under a microscope, and there are people who have opinions, especially in the media. And someone that you think is your friend, they're most likely they're going to say something. They're going to say something, whether it's a work or a shoot, we don't know. But they just have to have a thick skin and get used to people in the business talking about their gimmick, talking about their work. It's just going to happen, especially in this day and age where you're seeing more journalists in wrestling coming out and you know, having these platforms. You just have to be ready for it. And I think that's something that we're just going to see more of. And we live in a cancel culture too, so that's a whole other issue. But I think all in all, I don't think that Booker T meant any harm from it. I just think, yeah, maybe he could have said it in a different way, but Booker T is Booker T. It came out the way it came out. They said sorry, and I'm hoping to see Naomi just do more in WWE and really, you know, find something new for her character that really sticks and can push her to the next level. So.
Cool. Santana, should black men I should say this. Should black men have their criticisms in private if there's an opportunity when there's relationships like this?
Yes and no. I say yes because you have to kind of think about the other person's feelings and take it into consideration. Not everyone has like that tough skin where you can say whatever you want to them in publicly wise, and they just shove it off like, okay, cool, I get it, I understand. And then no, because sometimes people need to learn the hard way about things, and so that maybe they can understand better. With the whole Naomi and Booker T situation, I didn't see much of an issue, but I get it. Naomi, watching her on Total Divas, she is kind of sensitive. So I can see if that may have hurted her feelings or whatnot. But honestly, truly, I feel like Naomi needs to go heel. You know, I
Really?
do.
She
I
tried it
really feel like
though.
I know, but I feel that this time because in the beginning when she went here with like Sasha Banks and Tamina, you
Mm-hmm.
know, yeah, that was a great trio, but I needed to see Naomi be healed by herself and see how
Thank
it
you.
goes. She
Thank
needs to
you.
get that. She needs to get her husband treatment, like when the Usos, when they were all, you know, painted face and the, you know, their tribe thing they were doing. When they went heel, I was happy. I was
But
feeling that. I was feeling the Air Force Ones every week. Like I wanted to get me a new pair so I can feel like, so I can fit in.
I think she
I
needs
feel
to.
that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think she needs to be legit ticked off in order for a heel run to work.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
when she tried, it was boring. And
it
Very.
was.
Sasha came up to the main roster. Tamina, both of them outshined her. Now,
Hmm.
if you talking Ariane coming back, I think Naomi could have been the muscle, and Ariane could have did all the talking, and I believe
Right.
it would have worked. But I
Yeah.
just don't see it any other way. Like she's a genuinely a nice person. Like they've alluded to the podcast. Ariane said it. People don't have issues with Naomi because they just love her. Ariane had a mouth on her, and you could see like she is
She did.
annoying. So it was just natural when they did the split, which the feud could have lasted longer, but it was natural when they did the split for it to work out that way, where people are was just totally annoying. But it would be hard to me. It would be hard for me to believe Naomi being a heel. I think she's one of the true baby faces, but Lamar, what you think?
You know, I really think that about Booker T. I feel like that he could have kept those comments. You know, maybe they could have kept it behind closed doors. But I would like to see a little bit of character development from Naomi. But I really want good things for her though. Like I feel like that she's really talented. I feel like that she does deserve another run of the belt once again, and just that's basically that. I mean, I really feel like that she's really talented. She's very underrated when it comes to that. So that's what I think.
David?
Yeah, reading back on Booker T's comments, he was just being Booker T. He was being very straightforward about it. He could have said it straight to her face, but I mean, that's what Booker T does. I think Booker T's point, even though I'm not really trying to put words in his mouth, but Booker T's biggest thing when he's talking about young guys is always how to build that longevity. It's always about, well, this is, no matter what it was. When he was doing Harlem Heat had longevity, Booker T had longevity, and then King Booker had longevity until he was legit worn out by it and had to step away from wrestling for a calendar year before going to TNA. And I think he wants Naomi to have that longevity. But his approach to it was a little bit different because we've seen, I don't think he was discrediting hashtags by itself. We've seen fans influence things. That's how we got Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston as champions. That's kind of where
Divas a chance.
The Divas, the Give Divas a Chance hashtag. At times, if the audience is incredibly loud and WWE is doing what's called social listening, then changes are made. But then again, how long are those runs? What's the longevity of that? That has to genuinely come from the talent of that performer right there. So I think that he's looking at it for the long-term thing because Booker wrestled for a long time and still will get in the ring every now and again. And I think he cares about the longevity. He's not a flash in the pan type of person. And as you've seen with him, and I think to bring up another name, probably the best name to bring up in this is Chris Jericho in terms of evolving your character and continuing to change things. Those are things that either you have it or, you can probably be tutored and learn that ability. But that's what makes you so good in WWE is being able to evolve, or in just in professional wrestling, being able to evolve your character and continue to change things because we love Naomi. But you can only do something for so long before fans say, okay, I'm actually I'm bored by it. We love the fact that she had light up shoes and dancing. We love the fact that she was sliding on her knees down the ring. It was great, but you do have to evolve it because if it becomes the same thing over and over and over again, it's just not going to get. It's not going to entertain anybody.
That's true. We're going to talk evolving and characters evolving. We get back. Take a quick break. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Realm on YouTube and you can get more content like this.
The creative process seems to be the topic of choice in professional wrestling. With that being said, the Wrestling Realm would like you to know that as far as the creative process is concerned, we would never do anything to disrespect or disregard each other's ideas when it comes out to putting the best product for the Wrestling Realm.
Houston, we have a problem. Yes!
Oh boy, I probably had sound effects at the end.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, here talking black wrestlers. We have 5 black journalists with me talking black wrestlers. We talked about evolving. Big E is set for a singles run. And, we just talked about Booker T, and we're not here to pick on Booker, but he did say something which I kind of agree with to an extent. That is that Big E we need to see some evolution in him if we're going to take him serious as a WWE champion.
Yes.
Kofi Kingston's hurt. Xavier Woods is hurt. Now is Big E's time. What I saw in the ring Friday night when he kept looking and kept saying, "I'm coming," it put me in a place when Kofi did it during that gauntlet match when he got, I believe it was AJ Styles' face and said, "Nah, this is my time." Lamar, are you ready for Big E to become the WWE Universal Champion?
110% yes. I feel like it is time for him to do this. He has the charisma, he has the look. I feel like that it is time for him to at least get that opportunity and a chance. And what better time and what better chance to do it? But now, right now, with his two partners, Woods, Kofi, being on the shelf a little bit. So hopefully he can be able to get that opportunity. We'll see who gets a chance to win at SummerSlam between Bray and Braun. But I think that it is a very good opportunity. If Kofi could do it, hey, why not Big E?
Well, you got excited. Santana, what you think?
I think it's great that Big E is getting the opportunity. I mean, he's been in this tag team trio for like a long time. And I think a lot of people have forgotten about Big E when he was in his singles run. I think he was the Intercontinental Champion at one
Mm-hmm.
point. And then he had
Mm-hmm.
his little 5 count that he used to do. You know, when he was Big E Langston, you know, after they, you know, showing your name after
First
every
black,
few years.
first
You
black
know, after
NXT
they
champion.
right, you know, so it's like he has everything. He can talk on the mic because a lot of big dude wrestlers cannot talk whatsoever, and he has the voice. He has literally everything in embodiment of a champion should be. It's just the point of them actually giving him the opportunity and him having this push. I believe it could take him to becoming a champion. This depends on how long it's going to happen, you know, or how long they're gonna let him hold the title. Because I'm
Can't.
still mad
Oh,
about what they did to Kofi.
oh yeah, that was definitely a travesty
Disrespectful.
on a Friday night where they introduced Fox Sports and introduced Kofi Kingston to the world. Candace, does Big E need to drop the New Day gimmick? Does he need to make a change for you to take him seriously? What does it take?
Wow, that's a great question. I feel like this is his chance to really come into his own. I don't think he has to drop the gimmick entirely, but to definitely, as we're using the word evolve into something where he's using parts of the gimmick to create something completely new and fresh that's just solely Big E. And like Santana said, he has all the attributes. He's a massive talent. He has everything. He has the looks, the charisma, the athletic ability. People love Big E. He's just a beloved person. And this is truly faded, in my opinion. I think this is his time to shine. And he can use little bits and pieces of the gimmick that he already has, including the New Day gimmick, but take it to a completely different level, which I think he can, because I also believe that he has range as an actor. I think he's great comedic wise, and I think that he can infuse some dramatics into his arsenal. I think he has it in him. So I definitely am excited for him. I think this is his moment. I can't wait to see him run with whatever they give him. And I totally think that he has the goods to just take his character to a completely new level.
New level. Brianna.
Um. Okay, so kind of piggybacking off what Candace said, I low key do want to see him get rid of New Day, like altogether. Yes, we're always gonna remember him from that, just like how Booker T got started in a tag team match and in a matchup, and Shawn Michaels and all these people came out with somebody else, even Naomi. But for me to respect him for real, which I already do, but just for real, put respect with Big E is like you got to get that without them. You know what I'm saying? Because people will always associate you with that only, and I think he's done enough at this point now for people to see him just as a legend by himself. But in order to evolve, as we're saying, I don't really want to hear anything about the New Day with him right now.
So do you want to see him break up and turn on him, or do you just kind of want to see him win with new music and new gear?
Okay, so thinking about the Shield, I know it was more like a Seth Rollins turn on them type thing, but then the other two just started doing their thing. Like I would prefer somebody else to turn on them, and then it turns him into this, savior. I don't know. I don't want to see him do it because I don't want people to start hating him. But I would prefer somebody else to do it, and then he get his shine.
David,
I thought they were supposed to let him turn on him.
What'd you say?
I thought they were supposed to it was a rumor that he was actually supposed to turn on the New Day.
I don't want him to. I don't want it to be him. I need it to be somebody else.
I saw that somewhere.
I saw that somewhere. They make way too much money.
Yeah, they make way more money than the Shield.
Their merchandise. Their merchandise sales are incredible, and they've been able to evolve as a team. I mean, you just got to give them credit. They first came in, they were wearing suits, and then it changed to preacher guys, and then they turned heels, so then they started having fun and making pop culture references. Then you got Bootios was supposed to be an insult. Well, no, they just call people booty, then they turn to Bootios. And then out of nowhere, you go from Bootios to pancakes. I remember I didn't watch for like a couple of weeks. I came back and they were throwing pancakes. I was like, why is there pancakes now? I didn't get it. But they were evolving though. Like they continue to, do new things because New Day. I remember New Day being together in strong heels at Survivor Series 2015 in my second year at Georgia State, and here they are 2020 going into the fall. And they're still going strong. In terms of Big E, I think the whole serious thing just didn't really work out. It just doesn't really work out when you're that serious, I'm strong and I can beat anybody up character. Because if you remember when he was taking the mic, it was, I've got the mic now. And I was like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, it was weird.
He was better than Ezekiel Jackson.
I will never forget that.
He was.
I will never forget. I think he came out with Ziggler and AJ. And he grabbed the mic and he goes, I've got the mic now. And people just started booing. And it was like, what? And then he looked at Cena and he was like, Cena, you want a match? It's on. And I'm like, that was terrible.
And they were workout buddies from what I heard.
Who, Cena and Big E?
Yeah,
Makes
like
sense.
Cena wanted like the WWE to really push Big E to the moon because they worked out and that was like one of his guys. I mean, think about it though. He debuted at WrestleMania 29. How many wrestlers, especially black ones, actually had their debut match at WrestleMania? True. His debut match was him and Ziggler versus Daniel Bryan and Kane. Team Hell No.
He did have that. Then he just turned face out of nowhere. Got the IC title. But I think when he was in the New Day, I saw a side of Big E that I didn't even know existed, to be honest. Is that he's a fun-loving guy, and even though he's big, he's someone who can really entertain. So I feel like he can keep elements of the New Day gimmick to his character. There's some things you're just not gonna be able to do. You can't bounce off of Kofi or bounce off of Xavier like you used to do, but he is an entertainer. So I think he should keep that. And it's different to have a big black guy as a face and be really over. Mark Henry as a face was odd. I'm trying to think.
But you don't remember Sexual Chocolate though.
Yeah, but I was about to get to that. Viscera and Sexual Chocolate were exactly that. They were hypersexualized big men. They were completely hypersexualized. Like, didn't Viscera, may God rest his soul, didn't he propose to Lillian with a cheeseburger or something? Like, whatever he did. Yeah. Like, they were over-sexualized. So it's different to have them as like an actual, like, no, he's a face, not because the gimmick is funny and he's trying to sleep with the different women on the roster. It's because he's just good at what he does. So yeah, he definitely deserves a title run. I hope it happens, and when it does, I'm going to be extremely happy for him.
Well, we talk about a big black guy, and I gotta ask this question. Anybody jump in? I don't want to spend too much time on him, but Keith Lee, can he be that big black guy who, when he comes to the main, what he's doing on NXT, can that get over on the main roster?
I want to say no. I'm not even gonna lie. I would like for him to do that, but I don't know. It's so many factors that play into him, you know. He's 35, and that doesn't seem like a big deal, but 35 on NXT is a big deal.
I'm about to say I'll be 34 in 2 days.
No, that's what I'm like. It's not a big deal. Like, it's a lot of people who, of course, already older, already on the main roster though. And at that age, working to the main roster, then they get you on, then they gotta build a storyline. And I'm just like, how long before his storyline is good enough for him to be a big push?
So you don't see 30,000 people yelling "bask in his glory"?
No. I want it, but I'm just like,
anybody believe in Keith Lee?
So hard, man. I believe in him. No, it's not him. It's not him at all. It's just the situation he's put in.
You think when he get that Vince touch, it's a wrap?
Yeah, like Vince will screw up a situation. I'm thinking about Bobby Lashley. I'm like, man, Bobby Lashley is not old, but he's seasoned, and we're still waiting for a moment for him. Are you serious?
Candace, you ready to jump in?
Because I like Keith Lee. I really do. We're seeing this whole thing play out where, you know, people really love Keith Lee. He's someone that it seems like people wouldn't expect him to be in the position that he is in terms of his age, and you know, he's a big guy. He's really agile though, and he has a great personality, it seems. It's just, as we see when people go from NXT or developmental to the main roster, things tend to fall apart for a lot of folks. So I definitely agree with Briana. I'm trying to be positive because you never know. He could get to the main roster and they love him. Vince loves him. Push him to the moon. We have no idea. But I just hope, for his sake, I hope that when he gets there, because I do believe he will get there. It's not an if, it's a win factor. That he just isn't sitting, you know, in the back, kind of waiting, you know, for things to come together for him, that they give him things to do and that they don't bury him completely. So it's one of those things where it's like another waiting room. Who knows what's going to happen? But people love Keith Lee. People absolutely. I've never seen one person or heard one person say they hate Keith Lee, like they don't like him. He seems to be loved by everyone. So it's just a matter of him not just getting buried when he gets to the main roster. So it's like, let's pray. You know.
Yeah, he does have natural charisma. Excuse me. Speaking of somebody who has natural charisma, the boss, Sasha Banks, finally is 2 belts Banks officially as of last just 2 Mondays ago now. But we know that she has a tendency to win titles and then lose them at the pay-per-views. Or are we still calling them pay-per-views? I still call them pay-per-views. SummerSlam's coming up, and I was on YouTube, and WWE just happened to recently upload her full match with Alexa Bliss from SummerSlam a few years ago when Sasha lost the title. Should we be concerned with Sasha Banks losing the championship, Santana?
Does Bailey plan on being in her corner for this match?
They don't have to break up.
Because if she is, then maybe she may help her out. But other than that, I really don't see it. Like, Sasha Banks has a record of losing her titles at all these pay-per-views than anybody I've ever known before. So, I mean, if she beats Asuka, which I really don't see her doing it by herself, she may end up losing, and Asuka's going to take that title back.
David, can blue hair Sasha hold on to the title?
I will hope the Rolling 60s Sasha wins. You know, this is a different type of feel with this run. because the way it started was already in like a dirty finish. So even if it's a dirty finish, I'll take it. But am I concerned? Yeah, for sure. But I do believe though, um, we've been waiting for that Sasha lengthy title run for a while, and we just haven't had it yet. Does it happen? I don't know. I think maybe it's a running joke to Vince. You know, so concern, yeah. Do I hope it happens? I don't know. I think I'm kind of indifferent either way. Just because at this point I've kind of come to accept that that's just how it goes sometimes. Just like back in the day, Bray Wyatt would cut these amazing promos and lose the feud, or Dolph Ziggler would have a pretty good reason to be challenging for the title but never win the title. It's kind of one of those running jokes I think Vince has just going on.
Candace, you think it's a running joke going on? Does Sasha hold on title? She's going around saying thank you, Vince, on every tweet she posts, and she's bragging about her riches. Will she hold all the gold after SummerSlam?
I agree with the sentiment of it feels different this time around. I mean, we don't have Charlotte, we don't have Becky, Bayley is in her corner. There's hardly an audience. We're in this weird time as it is. And for quite some time, we're seeing Sasha and Bayley just being pushed to the moon. Like, they're doing amazing work together. I feel like I absolutely agree. I really think this time around is different. I think she's just going to retain for a little while. I don't think it's going to be something where, she's going to lose that belt so quickly. That's just my deep opinion, and I think it's because of everything that just happened. It really does feel different this time. If she loses, I personally will be upset because I want Sasha to win. Like, I really like Sasha. She's an amazing athlete. It really pains me to see her lose these titles, case after case, pay-per-view after pay-per-view. And with SummerSlam coming up, I don't know. I think she will retain it. I don't think she'll win. And the fan base will just go crazy. If she loses, then all hell will break loose on social media, as far as I can tell. So That's just the way I see it.
Lamar, Sasha Banks, when you look back at everything going on, are you nervous about this with her and Bayley? Do you see Bayley turning on her soon, or is that coming later? Or what do you see as a result of SummerSlam?
I feel like it might happen a little bit later down the road. Maybe not right now, but man, just to echo the sentiments about her having a long title reign, I really want her to have a long title reign. Like, I'm tired of her just winning the belt and then dropping it as soon as the next pay-per-view comes about. I mean, I feel like that she needs a lengthy run. And hopefully she can try to get that this go round here, and to at least just to at least do that. But I feel like the turn's probably going to come not right now, but maybe a little bit down the road here.
Briana,
I am going to agree with Lamar on that, because I was honestly going to say she's one of my favorite, but I was going to say I don't think they're going to give it to her now simply because of how she got it. They made it look extreme, like so dirty. There's one thing to just do some shady stuff, but it's like they made it look extremely dirty on her part, that I feel like they're gonna push for the fans to want her to lose it because of how you got it. And I think that's gonna be the narrative of, well, you didn't do that right, so since you did this right, we're gonna take that from you. And I hate that, but I'm thinking in my head, even though I love her and Bayley together, I'm thinking like, in order for her to have this long run that we want, they're going to break them up some kind of way and just really turn her into, I mean, she's already the boss, but they're going to really turn her into like certified super boss mode, mean to everybody type deal, for her to have this long run. Like, she's going to have to really just take over the whole women's division at that point, which she should have already. But I think they're gonna like dismantle her and Bayley first. And that's why I said I agree with Lamar that it's not. I would want it to come right now. I definitely want her to win. Let me say that I want her to win. I just think because of how they portray her getting that belt, they're not going to give it to her.
You don't think they're gonna give it to
Or
her?
let her keep it. Yeah.
Right. Well, we'll see. I always said that I think these two should feud. Their feud should come to a climax at WrestleMania. I thought SummerSlam would have been perfect because it was supposed to be in Boston. Obviously, pandemic stopped that, but we'll see. Two more things. Well, one before what I want y'all to think about now, and then I'll come back. Is your Mount Rushmore of black wrestlers? But before we do that, The Rock has purchased the XFL. He's come to save Vince McMahon. David, are you excited? Are you looking forward to covering the XFL with The Rock at the end? Dany Garcia being the first woman to own a sports league, which is amazing.
Yes.
Are you excited to see the cover some XFL?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I was pretty disappointed when I saw that the pandemic kind of forced the XFL to go into bankruptcy, and it was really becoming something that it was actually catching steam. It was actually something where it was catching a little bit of fire. So it definitely needed to be brought back. I was very, very disappointed to see that. Like, man, we didn't even get a full season of XFL football, and there were guys who were formerly in the NFL who have been able to make some plays in the XFL and kind of make some noise a little bit, and got interviews on the sidelines. Just a very in-depth, entertaining football. But I tell you what, I'm excited to see what The Rock does with this, what ideas he brings to the table. Because if there's somebody that Vince does listen to, it's The Rock. The Rock is one of those people that's allowed to break script in the middle of Monday Night Raw. So if you're able to do that and you're saying, hey, I own this league too, let me try something out here with the XFL. So we'll see what happens there.
My brother, the real Dwayne Allen, always says that if you made Vince McMahon $1 million, you can kind of do what you want. And you look back at people like the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, people you never thought you ever see. Well, Hogan different, but Warrior, you never thought you'd see him in the WWE ring again. And fortunately, he was at the Hall of Fame. Santana, what you think? The Rock, XFL, will Vince McMahon still be involved in it somehow?
Definitely, it's Vince McMahon. He gonna be involved some kind of way. You ain't gonna get that opportunity on your own just like that, and he ain't gonna have nothing to say. Like, he's definitely gonna be somewhere in the back, somewhere. Probably got a earpiece in his ear, like, Rock, I need you to do this. Although you may be the owner of this, but I need you to do this like this here. So he may have something to be a little bug in the ear. He might. I can see it happening.
Yeah. Briana, what you think about The Rock purchasing XFL, and what do you think about Dany Garcia being involved as well?
Okay, so Dany Garcia being an owner is big, huge, humongous for women right now. I'm gonna keep saying, like, it's so important right now, always, for women to be, pushed as strong people. But right now, in particular, we need that more than anything, and that gives hope to, I'll say, younger girls. I think me as an adult, I obviously know things can happen. I just know we need the opportunity. But that gives hope to younger girls looking up and say that there are things that we can do. Just because it's football and women aren't playing in that league doesn't mean that a woman can't own it. But my best friend actually played for the XFL, so I take it very personal that The Rock bought it. Like, I take it extremely personal because I was following this league because of him, and just trying to see, it was in the springtime, so it was perfect. Like, when I really didn't have much to watch next to baseball, I was like, okay, this is great for me when I'm missing and fiending football. It was perfect. So it's really big for me to see this come back. It's like a real life Ballers right now. So it's like, it's crazy. But I do want to see what he's going to do, because even before the pandemic hit, the XFL was already having quite a few issues. And I say that because, like I mentioned, my best friend played. There were some things on the back end, just taking care of their players that they were not doing. Housing, there were a couple of issues there, getting them prepared, because a lot of them, okay, you get signed, you got to go out and you got to figure it out. they weren't giving them much time to find a place or do this. And that's some of the stuff I was hearing on the back end. So it was like, there are some things that need to be fixed. But I want to see what he's going to do, which I feel like he's very intelligent, that he'll figure it out, you know. Shoot, I was making a joke that he might end up on the team himself playing, because we know he want to do it anyway. But I just want to see what he's going to do. I'm excited.
Yeah. Candace?
Yeah, I mean, this is such an amazing story. I wrote an article about this, and for one, I mean, imagine buying a company from your former employer. Like, that's just, who can say that? Who can actually say that? The fact that The Rock is phenomenal. Everyone loves The Rock. He has the Titan games, which is a huge hit. So he's already riding on this wave, and then he goes and buys the XFL for $15 million, which is way less than what it was, first purchased for. And I feel as though this is just going to be a hit, because everything that The Rock touches is gold. Whatever Vince McMahon couldn't do with the XFL, The Rock, I believe, will do, and he's going to take it much further than probably anyone could have thought the XFL could have gone to. Because The Rock and Dany Garcia, they have a great eye. They have a great mind for business. Their production company is wonderful. And I'm super excited to just see where this goes, because I think it's going to be a huge hit. And I think people are really going to tune in and make a lot of money from this. So this is just an all-around great move. Like, I was so excited to hear about this, and it just came out of nowhere. No one expected this. So The Rock just came through and said, I'm just going to buy this company for $15 million, and we're just going to sit on it until things kind of die down. I feel like once the pandemic settles down and this just really, goes forward, it's just going to be huge. And I can't wait to see what comes of this.
Lamar, before we close, what do you think? Do you see The Rock being able to take the XFL to new heights and making it must-see TV?
I think it's a little bit of a shot in the arm here. At least you got that name brand now with having The Rock there and being involved with it. I feel like that it'll give those players another opportunity for them just to hone their craft, maybe try to get into the NFL as well. So I just think that it's a good move there.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to see it, and listen to everybody talk about it got me thinking, wow, this really could work this time. All right, so now it's time, before we get out of here, for I don't know if y'all was taking notes or mental notes for your Mount Rushmore of Black wrestlers. So I'm gonna start with the ladies first. I'm gonna start with Briana. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of Black wrestlers? Can be past, present, or even future.
See, because I have like a men's side and then I have a women's side, but
it's your list.
Okay, I'm gonna go Noami. Would I add Sasha? I guess Sasha's on it. This is a hard list for me though, because I change it a lot. But my top, I guess, I want to put Noami and Sasha there. The Rock. Really, he's first, because he really got me into wrestling in the first place. Mark Henry. Booker T is up there, but I don't know. Oh, this is so hard. Okay. For real, I'm just gonna say to be safe, and I might change this later. So no judgment, but I'm gonna say The Rock, Sasha, Noami, Booker T. What's the other person I just named? I forgot already.
Mark Henry.
Mark Henry, yeah.
I like how you made Sasha Naomi like one person.
I did. That's why I said it's difficult for me, because I have like a men's side and then I have a women's side, because I'm like,
you could do both. You could have your women's list and your men's list.
It's so hard. It's like I want Noami over Sasha, but I want them both on there some kind of way. But see, I can push Mark Henry kind of like behind them. with Big Daddy V and all them, like right there.
Whoa.
They're like peeking. They're right there, but they're right there. But I'm saying it's so difficult for me because I'll be like, yeah, I want them in my top, then I'll change it.
She wants
I'm
to
sticking
push
with that. Just push Mark Henry right behind them, right there.
with Big Daddy V. Okay.
Big Daddy V and all them in the back.
Lamar, what's yours?
All right, so this was a good one. I had to think about this for a little bit. Number one, I'll go with Ron Simmons, Farouk. First black champion. I had to give him his respects on that one. Number two, The Rock. That goes without saying. Number three, the five-time champion Booker T. And I got a lady on the list here. I got Sasha Banks on there, but also I really do not want to forget Jacqueline on that list as well. Very underrated wrestler. I feel like that she definitely deserves her flowers. I have to put Sasha above her though, but Jacqueline definitely deserves some serious consideration.
All right, Candace.
Yeah, this was absolutely hard, and I have a list. I also did what Briana did. I was like, I want to put women on one side and men on the other.
You can do that. Y'all could do that. I did.
I also wanted to shout out like some up and comers too, so it was really hard.
Aren't you so nice?
I definitely have Ron Simmons, absolutely, and Booker T. Those two, it was like a no-brainer for me. I also put Jazz on the list. I gotta give her a shout out. An absolute legend on there. And gosh, this is really hard because there's just so many people. For the fourth one, there only has to be four because that's Mount Rushmore itself. The fourth one, goodness. I feel like I want to shout someone out who's up and coming.
And who would that be?
And that was hard. There's so many up and coming, young black wrestlers out here. I think for the fourth person, you know what? I'm gonna throw a curveball, up and comer. I'm just gonna do it because I believe in him. I'm gonna put Darius Carter on there and just.
Oh, okay.
I see his name because I've worked with Darius, so I'm a little biased, but I honestly think he's massively underrated.
Absolutely.
He should be in the big leagues by now, so I'm just waiting for it. But he's been one to watch since I've entered this business, and I truly believe once he gets his big shot, he's just gonna be up there with these guys, like absolutely. So I'm gonna be the odd person and put that name in there. So.
Well, Darius, make sure you listen and make sure you tell the people.
I'll let them know. We'll know, and they'll promote for sure.
So now you got to make sure you live up to the expectations. We want to make sure you're on the list of everybody, not just Candace's list. Santana, you ready?
I suppose. So first, I will have to say The Rock, automatically. Can I do tag team?
Go ahead.
Tag team would definitely have to be. I want to say, as far as like an era that I know about, is like the Usos. I love them a lot. Like,
yes,
a talented out this world. Don't make them as one pair. That's gonna be like my second.
They twins, so
they're gonna be together.
The egg was split.
Naomi definitely. And to say for my last person, as far as an upcomer, is Bianca Belair. I love her. She is so talented. She needs I hate, her coming over to Raw, so I know her being beside like her husband and everything, but she got some star power. Bianca Belair does.
Yeah, Bianca Belair is the absolute truth. Well, speaking of somebody who's interviewed Bianca Belair, David, you're up.
Yeah, man, Bianca is both of them. Her and Montez were just the nicest people to me. I was so surprised when she emailed me back to do that interview. But So I've split mine up. I have a women's one and I have a men's one. And I was thinking about a tag team one, but I couldn't come up with four. At least I couldn't think of one. But my Rushmore is gonna be Sasha Banks, Jacqueline, Naomi, and then Awesome Kong. I've been a big fan of Awesome Kong. She, I think her run in TNA, people kind of they weren't watching TNA, so I guess they didn't really see it. But
Right.
I saw it.
tremendous work. Her and Gail Kim's feud was amazing. So really, really good work from her. So Awesome Kong deserves her flowers for sure. And then for the men, Ron Simmons, obviously. I mean, that's an obvious one. But also one I didn't hear name was Tony Atlas. Tony Atlas was one half of the first black WWE or first black tag team champions with Rocky Johnson. And so I think Tony Atlas should be up there as well. And then The Rock, even though Vince doesn't think he's black, The Rock is half black, but
Except in February.
Yeah, except in February, sort of after people done brought it up because it just wasn't really coming up like that. But so I said, okay, so we've got Tony Atlas, Ron Simmons, The Rock, and then I'm gonna go with Booker T just because again his longevity and his ability to continue to work and then mentor young folks coming up. It's an obvious choice, put him in there.
Yeah, even though he liked to criticize him, but
yeah, he does.
And it's all good. But my Mount Rushmore, I'm gonna start with the women, and I'm going old school. If you watch Dark Side of the Ring, you heard this name, and that's Sweet Georgia Brown. One of the, I believe, the first African American women wrestler. She really dealt with a lot in this business, and I'm putting her on my list. Then I'm going Jazz, and Jazz is just dominant, and it's unfortunate. I had an opportunity to have dinner with her after an RCW show, a company I used to work for, and she said like creative just didn't have nothing for her, and I thought that was unfortunate because so much you could have did with her. And then like who's on everybody else's list, the next two is Naomi and Sasha Banks, just for what they've done and will do for the business. And it was hard leaving off Awesome Kong and Jacqueline, but these are my four. And for the men, obviously The Rock, Booker T, Ron Simmons, go figure. But the person I would put on there first is the big cat. The big cat, Ernie Ladd. Just when I look back at like some of that old Mid-South content and see what he did, him and Junkyard Dog, they used to have like some of the best feuds. So, and it was really a toss up between those two. I mean, and because you could go with Junkyard Dog, this guy was like the most over person in wrestling at one point, but Vince wasn't taking the title off Hogan. And it's unfortunate, like when you look at some of the DVDs, I'm gonna call it what it is. You see a lot of white wrestlers, and I'm talking like the newer school, like your Mrs. saying, "Oh yeah, Junkyard Dog was cool, but he shouldn't have been champion." But then you have your Booker T's and your Mark Henry saying he should have been champion. I just think it was a different time and day then. But the big cat Ernie Ladd was, he put on shows and he went out there, did his thing. So that's my list. Before we get out of here, any final thoughts?
I forgot Devon. I totally forgot him. He was on my top. I was like, dang, I can't forget him.
Devon.
I love him.
I say that for off the air. But any final thoughts, anybody, before we get out of here?
Well, I think it was great to see you've got all the brothers and sisters who enjoy professional wrestling just gathering together and just being able to talk shop a little bit and really discuss some of the things that we see in wrestling, because it's you go to these shows even when you're in cities that are predominantly black. I've been to a few shows in Atlanta and the crowds still are not the majority black, and now here I am in Knoxville, and I already know the crowd ain't gonna be black. But I will say it's refreshing and it's nice. And of course, then we have those perspectives and those shared experiences when we see these wrestlers that we identify with, and I say, hey, they look like us, and we see them finding some success and breaking the glass ceiling. There you go, Brian. breaking the glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Breaking the glass ceiling. Indeed, David. Let the people know where they can find you. Well, he finishes. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I've been drinking a lot. I'm trying to stay hydrated. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Deacon_Schiele. And you can see right there on the screen, Schiele, Schiele. So that is where you'll find me on Twitter and on Instagram.
All right. Santana, let the people know where they can find you.
On Instagram, you can find me at Santana the Journalist. And on Twitter, you can find me at Drian Santana. Right there on the screen. You can't miss it.
All right. Candace?
Hey everyone, so you can find me on Instagram at thatgirlcandace16, that's 16, and on Twitter you can also find me on as Candace Cordelia. It's right there on the screen. And I also have a YouTube channel. If you look up Candace Cordelia, you can subscribe. I do podcasts about wrestling, and I'm going to start doing behind the scenes stuff. There might be some gaming on there, so I'm ramping that all up. But yes, please follow and subscribe.
All right. Briana?
I like Candace's that girl. Like, I want to take that. It's like emphasis, that girl. But Instagram and Twitter, you can follow me at Briana JTV. One N, guys. One N. Do not make me Briana.
All right, Lamar.
All right, on Instagram, you can find me at primetime2832. That's primetime2832. And you can also find me on Twitter at Lamar Gafford. That's all in one word, as the screen says below.
Oh. I just kicked. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hey, I don't know if they heard me. I removed myself from the stream by accident. But make sure you go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling Realm. Follow me at Brian H. Waters. Also, make sure you like the Facebook fan page. And guess what? My birthday's coming up. So what that means, I'm dropping a special episode of Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling, reflecting on year 33, where I have an unfiltered conversation about everything that happened. So make sure you check that out. It might get me in trouble with some people. But if they don't like what I got to say, it's not like I won't say it to their face. Until the next time, folks, so long, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Realm posts new content.